welcome to the Behind the Tea podcast with Rob and Kelly. So how's it going, Rob?
It's going great. How are you today?
Not too bad. I'm actually quite shook right now. I
You're
read some
shook?
great. I'm shooketh, as the young
Shooketh.
kids shooketh, as the young kids say. I read some breaking news just before we started recording this podcast.
Oh my God. What is it? Is it the 2025 mixed doubles are in Flin Flon again or something like that?
No, it is not curling related. It's again football related since we are part curling, part football podcast here. But our dear friend Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, has just announced his engagement to not Danica Patrick, who I thought he was still dating.
Oh,
No. His new girlfriend, Shailene Woodley. Do
I
you know who she is?
I do only because I know you. I wouldn't have known otherwise. I'm guessing she's appeared on a certain TV show.
Yeah, she's a American actress. She's actually only a year younger than I am. But now you can find her playing on the HBO show Big Little Lies with like
Okay.
Nicole Kidman. Before that, I think her first like big break was that teen show like My American Teenage Life or something like that.
Oh, I'm so old. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it was an old show. Anyway, so she's done quite a few. Like she's been around. She's not an A-list celebrity. I'd say maybe like C-list TV
Okay.
celebrity. But anyways, so I how I found this out. I was scrolling through the Bachelor subreddit, and
As
Aaron
we
Rodgers,
often do.
as you often do, and Aaron Rodgers' brother, I think, went on like a past season of The Bachelor at like years ago. And anyway, so someone posted on it because their husband, I guess, follows football. And then she found this out and shared with the Bachelor Nation because we would care about this stuff. So, anyways, yeah, I thought he was still dating Danica, but apparently not. They broke up in the summer
Oh.
and started dating Shailene, and now they're engaged. And some
Oh.
people are thrilled about this. I forwarded this breaking news to my brother, who is a longtime supporter of the Packers. And I also found out he was not a fan of the Danica Rogers relationship.
Oh,
I quote
interesting.
you. His reply was because I told him, "Oh, I didn't even know they broke up," and his reply quote was, "She was toxic. Once they broke up, he had the best season of his life." And now I
Oh
think
my.
today too that it came out he was voted
He was,
the
named the MVP
MVP.
last night. It's been a good weekend for him.
Correlation? I don't know.
Very
But
interesting. If only he were playing in the Super Bowl, which is today, the day that we're recording.
yeah, could you imagine if he did?
But yes, congratulations, Aaron, if you're listening. You never know.
Yeah,
We have some listeners in the States. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is one of them.
maybe. Well, the season's over. Time to pick up curling as a side gig. It's not golf season yet.
That's
So,
right. There's some curling in Wisconsin.
oh, absolutely. It's one of
Yeah.
the bigger curling states.
Yeah, there you go. Come on, Aaron Rodgers. What's her name again?
His new fiance,
Yeah.
Shailene Woodley.
Okay, yeah. Go curling.
Yeah.
You can't honeymoon anywhere else, right?
No. So yeah, so that's my football news of the week. I don't know if you have anything football related to add to this.
Not really. But I guess being that today's the day of the Super Bowl, who's gonna win?
Chiefs all the way.
Yeah, I would be surprised. Betting against Tom Brady seems really like a bad thing to do, but I'm saying Kansas City all
Yeah.
day.
Well, you know what? I was betting against Tom Brady for the past 2 weeks, and it hasn't been working in my favor. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Buccaneers make it.
Yeah, there you go. I want an interesting game.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
absolutely.
I'm stuck at home. I'm bored. May as well have it be interesting.
Yeah. With that out of the way, I guess we can start this week's episode. So starting, I think it's in 2 weeks, is the Calgary bubble. A lot of tournaments, obviously, at the end of last year were canceled, and all throughout the year, there was speculation as to like, are we even going to have national championships? Are the
Right.
worlds going to happen? And a lot of people were maybe not so keen on it. Others were. It was quite a divisive topic
Yeah. We talked about it back in I guess around December is when we recorded an episode about what was going on in curling news, and I remember saying that I was not in favor of it,
Mhm.
and I just meant at the time that so yeah, I remember back in December we did an episode on how they were talking about planning this curling bubble, and we had some varying thoughts. I know for me, I was against it at the time, or not really against it, but I wasn't that thrilled with the idea. Just
Yeah.
thinking that I
You
remember
weren't, like, in
questioning.
favor of it, yeah.
Right, I remember questioning whether this was really the right thing to do when COVID was so completely out of control, pretty much everywhere in the
Mhm.
country, which to some extent it still is. But not that I was questioning the safety, but my real concern was that I'm worried long term about the health of curling clubs, and I just felt that was where uh, I would be more interested in putting the investment from Curling Canada, if you will. But now that football season is about to end today, we're going to head into a pretty big lull of sports. I hate this time of year. It's boring, it's cold, and now we're stuck at home. So I don't know about you, Kelly. I'm excited to have something to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to finally have something to watch that's curling related because we've been so deprived all year. I'm kind of curious to see like how the events are gonna turn out and if they're still gonna be interesting to watch. And like one of the reasons why I wasn't too sure if it was a good idea to have these events too is just like everyone who will be participating, like half of these teams haven't really had a season. They've barely been on the ice, except maybe the maritime provinces who have because they've been in part of a maritime bubble. But at least like the Ontario, Quebec teams, I think they've only had
Yeah,
like practice ice. Some of the Western teams have had a little more competition this year. So yeah, I'm just kind of
it'll be interesting to
curious
see them
to
go
see.
in with
Yeah,
like no real preparation whatsoever.
and the thing is too is they have to quarantine for 2 weeks before entering the bubble, so they're not even getting that practice right before the tournament. So I wonder if some teams may not be able to reach their like peak performance in time. Um, I don't know. So
So if any of these teams are listening, I have many questions. Feel free to get in touch with us, and oh yes, follow us on Instagram and all of on YouTube as well, and all of that stuff. But one of my questions is that well, aside from how can you get ready for this event, what's it like in the bubble? I was thinking of I saw this thing where baseball players were quarantining in a hotel, and they couldn't leave their room. And
mhm.
so they were, how do they keep in shape? So what they did was they took the mattress off their hotel bed, they put it against the wall, and they started throwing fastballs against it. So the pitchers could at least practice their mechanics from their hotel room by destroying their mattress. Uh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the mattress is not sleepable
Yeah, probably
after that.
after a major league fastball, you can probably forget it. But I'm
Mhm.
thinking, so what can curlers do? Um,
I don't know. I
how
guess
can you?
maybe some of them can bring like exercise equipment or like a stationary bike to
I
have it in the
wonder.
room to at least keep the cardio up and whatnot. But
But I do have the answer to this. This is not really related to anything. But you know how I
okay,
bought a corn broom, right?
yeah.
So actually, well, this was your fault. You were the one who peer pressured me into it. But I bought a corn broom, and I think I finally got the sweeping motion down
Okay.
of how to use it. And
Uh-huh.
my downstairs neighbor probably hates me because it's creating a big
Oof.
loud noise, and there's little bits of straw all over my living room floor. But the point is that if you try doing it, when you do it for a few seconds, it gets your heart rate up.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, the gym in my apartment is closed. I can't go anywhere. This is a pretty good
Maybe just
quarantine workout. Bring back the
hmm.
corn brooms.
I'm sure for some of the players, though, they'll have to bring quite a few corn brooms because I can see them going through that quite quickly if that's
Yeah, if you
their.
actually know what you're doing, unlike me, you'll probably
Hmm.
destroy it much faster.
Hmm. Um, so, do you want to, I guess, get into the details as how the bubble is going to work
Yeah.
exactly? Okay, so in terms of like the teams going, they actually extended the pool of players. So each province, like usual, gets to send one representative. And before there was only one wild card spot in addition to Team Canada, but now they've increased that to the three wild card spots. And those spots were decided through the CRTS points.
Whatever
I
it
keep
is,
getting the
rankings,
acronym wrong.
right? From last year, I guess.
Yeah, so the teams, just the top three teams ranked on the Canadian circuit. So prior to entering the bubble, which will be happening in Calgary, the teams have to quarantine at home for 2 weeks, and they also need to get a negative COVID test before making their way over to Calgary. Once in Calgary, they are tested again, and they will need to test negative. And they basically go from the airport straight to the hotel, and then from the hotel to the arena and back. Like there's no detour, there's no stopping. You can't stop at the Tim Hortons drive-through after a game to pick up a cup of Timmy's. Like you have to go straight to your hotel.
So it's not real curling.
Nope, nope. But I'm sure you can Uber Eats it if you really need your fix. So once in the bubble, there are actually three zones called green, blue, and red. So the athletes and the coaches will be part of the green zone. So if you're part of this zone, you get access to obviously the hotel and then the arena and on the ice. Then we have the blue zone for broadcasting crew for TSN. So they'll be also part of like the hotel, and then they go automatically to the broadcasting booth that has its own like entrance. And then finally the red zone is for media, crew, and volunteers. Like these people don't even have access to like the ice and like are
Okay.
sectioned off to like a certain part of the arena. At any point, if anyone gets any symptoms or whatnot, or gets like a fever, so they will get a temperature check each day. So if you have a fever or any other symptoms, like you automatically go into more quarantine until you
Oh
test
boy.
negative again. Yeah. And then finally, even once they're in the hotel room, like they're not free
Leave.
to roam the hotel. Like they can
Right.
only go to the other rooms of their players because usually they split it like two-person per room plus the coach has a room. So you can go between like those rooms, but you can't go socialize with other players. There is a dining hall for them to eat, but then they can also order room service or like have food delivered, like do an arrangement to have food delivered to the hotel.
Doesn't sound like much fun, I gotta be
It
honest.
does not, honestly, no. And then also too, like there's no locker rooms, so they basically have to show up to the arena ready to play, and they basically bring their curling shoes. There's going to be a spot on the ice to change your shoes, and that's it. So I don't like as a player. I mean, it's great if you really, really want to compete that you have the opportunity. But having gone to a junior championship, I mean, it's not the same level as like the Scotties or the Briar, but there is so much more that happens behind the scenes, and these players aren't getting that this year. And especially for like the first timers, they're not getting the banquet, they're not getting the patches, they're not getting um,
Yeah. It's
the meet and greet events. It's yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't sound like much fun to be
I
honest.
agree. It's which is I guess one of the other reasons why I questioned whether this should even go ahead. I mean, I think the players ultimately do want it, and that
Hmm.
it goes to show the fact that they're all willing to quarantine for 2 weeks to do this. That
How keen they are.
yeah, so I'll give them that. That said, too, like if they called me up and said we need another mixed doubles team or something, I can't because of work, but I would quarantine if I didn't have a job. I would quarantine for it, I think.
Yeah, well, at this point, I'm so bored and eager to do something. Like, if you have, yeah, I guess if I was in a position to be able to do that, I would. And we can get into this later when we go through the list of teams participating, because there were some teams, some quite,
That declined.
yeah, some teams that actually had a good chance of performing well, and they declined because of various restrictions
Yeah.
such as jobs and family and all that stuff.
Hey, I got another question though about
Mhm.
this. Maybe because you've actually put effort into research and I have not. So
I
maybe you
put a
know
big
the answer to
15
this.
minutes. Yeah.
Okay, I put a big 15 seconds. So, but maybe you have the answer to this because back in the summer, Curling Canada released a document about how they were going to change all the rules of the game for playing under COVID. Things like no more scoreboards, no more coin tosses. You would do it through your phone, no shaking hands. And the biggest one being only one sweeper,
Mhm, and
which
there's also you couldn't sweep behind the T line,
right,
right?
right. So we never got. I remember in the summer when we read that, we all debated it and we said like, "Oh, well, that's pointless," or "This is." And I mean, it was easy for us to say things in the summer, back when COVID was at the lowest numbers it's been. But now, well, we never got to test them because we never got our season in.
Mhm.
So are they playing by those rules or are they playing by traditional curling rules? Because they are in a bubble.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have the answer to that. I hope they just go with standard rules, and like you said, they are in a bubble, so technically
Yeah.
everyone who's on the ice should be like they tested negative.
Right. Like, do they have to wear a
So
mask? Probably not.
no, I'm sure they'd wear a mask like to and from the arena, but once
Hmm.
you're playing, I don't.
Because I have
And
to
I
be
don't see
honest.
the purpose of
Yeah,
only having one sweeper when they're allowed to stay in the same hotel room. It makes
there
no
you go.
sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I think they'll. I have to guess. I think they'd play by the traditional rules. Although I have to be honest, I'd kind of just to make it a little different. I'd kind of like to see them play by the new rules and play in masks, just because I've tried playing in a mask from the one time we got on the ice.
Oh god, it
It
was
was not easy.
horrible. It was so uncomfortable. You need to bring a change of masks and change it almost every couple ends, eh?
Yeah, they're the new broomheads.
Yeah. Do they have to be yellow as well?
Maskate.
Uh, oh geez. That's a 2021 drama. So just to like wrap up the rules here, so there will be penalties if anyone does break the Calgary bubble. So if someone does break the rules for any reason, the team will automatically be disqualified, and would have to be sent home at their own expense. But they will also be suspended from any competitive play until July 2022.
Wow.
So
So there
that
go
means,
if you leave the hotel, there goes your trip to the Olympics.
yeah, pretty much. You also lose any type of funding if you're part of any like training programs or whatnot, and you receive funding from like the either Curling Canada or like the Canadian government or whatnot. You would lose that as well. So the stakes are high, and which I think is good because it forces people to actually just follow the rules.
Yeah, I know in other sports they've had issues with people following the rules, and it's led to outbreaks. And
Mm,
so I don't think that'll happen here. Although I do have to wonder, like, and let's hope this doesn't happen. But let's suppose that a player tests positive once they're in the bubble. I know
yeah,
that should not happen because there's all these security things, but I mean, you never know with
it can.
coronavirus. It could happen. Um, so, but then think about it. They've been with their teammates. There's a
Hmm.
person sharing a hotel room with that player. There's two other people that are in very close contact,
Yeah.
and then they're all
Actually,
curling.
sorry, I wonder maybe because this year is so special, if every player has its own their own room and they're not
Mm,
bunking up. That could possibly be a thing because also the hotel, I don't know which hotel they're staying at, but like the whole hotel is designated for curling.
for the
Like
event,
you don't
yeah,
have other people attend like staying at the hotel at the same time. So yeah, I guess if everyone has their own room, maybe it will be a little easier to
yeah.
contain. But you know
I
what's interesting too? And this I find happens more often at the Scotties than any other tournament, but there always is a bug
there
that
is
goes
something.
around. There's one year I think there was the gastro flu going around, and some people were playing with three players, like they couldn't even get their alternate and another player were sick, and it seems
Oh,
to
I know.
always happen at the Scotties.
I know.
So
The year that it was in Montreal, you weren't here, but I remember that year. It was
it was
like
bad,
there was a
eh?
draw where half the field was playing as three. They had the alternate, the skip, and or the alternate, the second, and whoever looked the least, whoever was puking the least.
Oh my
It
god.
was really bad.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that doesn't happen. But I guess when you think about it, like some of the sickest moments of my life have been post curling tournaments. We've gotten really
Well, just me last year. I think we played in a tournament here in Montreal that it's kind of a fun one where every club within a certain region plays and participates, and you get to go from club to club. But after that one, oh, I was knocked out for like a good week.
I know. And if we had known then what we know now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think curling tournaments are ripe for this kind of thing to happen. Unfortunately, it does happen, and that's what's scary here.
Anything that one happens like around flu season, you get a whole bunch of people in a contained environment, like you're bound to get something.
Yeah, and I just wonder because like when we hear of outbreaks with hockey teams, like I know the NHL is struggling right now; they've had to cancel a lot of games. Um, at least though, a hockey team has I don't know 20 something players, so if
Mm,
two or three of them have to quarantine, I guess that's okay. They still might cancel the game, but at least hopefully it doesn't turn into a full on like 20 players testing positive. But if one person on a curling team tests positive, that's a quarter of your team right
I
there.
know. Or a fifth of the team, I guess,
Yeah,
counting the alternate.
so.
Yeah, yeah, we can't really afford to lose players in curling. So yeah, so this thing is going ahead, which is great, and another good reason for it is that it gives us more content to talk about for at least another month. And we can actually comment on real games and not just past ones. So just a quick rundown of like the order of things happening. So we have the Scotties going on from the week of February 19th to the 28th. So not next week, the week after. Well, actually, when this podcast comes out, it'll be already started. Um, then we'll go straight into the Briar from March 5th to 14th.
Oh
Then,
no.
oh, is that
Alright.
not during
It's not during
your
my
trip?
March break. My March break is gonna be the week in between. Great.
Oh no.
I hate it when
Sorry.
that happens.
Well, at least you're working from home. You can have it like on mute in the
I'm not
background.
working from home.
Oh, you're not. Oh,
No,
right. Kids are
that's
going.
right.
Okay. You can get a stay-at-home job. So yeah, Briar 5th to the 14th, then mixed doubles from the 18th to the 25th, and then we wrap it all up with the men's worlds from April 2nd to the 11th.
Okay.
So what's going to be interesting here is there are some people playing in the Scotties that are also playing in the mixed doubles. And also, I guess the winner of the Briar will be attending the men's worlds. But there's a good like 2 weeks between those championships. So I don't think they'll be able to go home and come back because if you go home, then they'll just have to quarantine at home for 2 weeks to then just come back right before the start of their
Yeah.
championship. So they'll have to stay alone in a hotel room for 2 weeks. Is that how it's going to work? Plus the 2 weeks or the week and a half of the actual tournament.
I think so.
So
I seem to remember
essentially,
here or go ahead.
I was just gonna say okay. So if we just take the Briar here, right? It starts on the 5th. So obviously they land in Calgary a couple days before. So they should be arriving around March 2nd ish,
Okay.
3rd. Around then. But then whoever wins is going to have to stay in that bubble until, assuming they make the finals, which they should because we're Team Canada, until April 11th. So they'll probably leave on the 12th.
So you're
That's
like,
a month and
yeah,
a
a
half
month and a half in Calgary,
of
uh,
staying in a little
in a
hotel
hotel.
room. And I'm sure, I mean, they're not putting them up in the Ritz Carlton here. Let's be real.
Yeah, I wonder.
So that is a huge commitment. And you're eating takeout food
I have the
for.
answer, corn brooms. But but no, I actually seem to remember hearing that if you are playing in multiple events, like there's
Mhm,
some people that'll play in the Tournament of Hearts and mixed doubles or Briar and mixed doubles, that you are allowed to leave the bubble.
mhm.
Like I think you are allowed to go back home in between, but you'll still have to quarantine.
I think if I were, let's say, someone in the Scotties and then playing in the doubles, I would probably, instead of flying back here, uh, probably just rent an Airbnb for a couple weeks in Calgary. So at
And
least you have
quarantine
like,
there.
and quarantine there. So at least you have a little more space and, change the scenery a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Although you
because
know what?
the more you fly too, the higher your risk of catching
That's true.
something in route. So
But the more that I think of it, we all have to kind of live by quarantining to some extent. I mean, like
mhm.
I still have to go to work, but other than that, I pretty much stay locked up in my apartment. So if I can do
Yeah,
it, I'm sure they can too. And it must suck to be in a hotel room for a month. But if I were curling in the World Curling Championships,
yeah.
I would be okay with it.
Make the sacrifice, but it is still different. Like I work from home, but I have more square footage than a hotel room, but I can still go outside for a walk around the block, which I do try to do more. But I can still leave, go to the grocery store, and yeah, take walks. So at
That's
least
it. Yeah.
it changes and your just your environment a little bit.
Yeah. You know you're in 2021 when you're like, "Oh, I had a productive day. I went to the grocery store."
I know. Oh my god, sometimes I catch myself and I'm just like, it's been 4 days and I have not left the apartment. Like, go take a walk, get
Yeah.
some fresh oxygen and whatnot. And you know what? It'll be a great story to tell years down the line. You know, be I participated in the 2021 mixed doubles. I was there for a whole month, and you know, I guess in 50 years we can all laugh about it. Hopefully.
I hope so.
All right, so let's do a quick roll call, I guess, of the teams participating.
Okay, I can actually do that.
Yeah,
I've
because
got it open in front of me.
we got some new faces and some notable team changes.
That's right. And some that caught us by surprise.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the Scotties since it's the first event. So let's start off with Team Canada. So this is Carrie Einerson's team from Manitoba, who won last year,
Hey, and check out who's coaching them. Heather Nedahan.
oh wow, she hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That'll be neat to see her.
I kind of hope I'd be happy to see Carrie win again because they won last year, but then didn't have a chance to go to the World Championship.
Right. I felt bad for them for that. And
Yeah.
by the way, the other thing that that we should mention that I was reading about this morning was that the men's world championship is part of this same bubble. The
Mm-hmm.
women's world championship is not. It's in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever wins the Tournament of Hearts is going to Switzerland and is going to have to abide by whatever quarantine international travel rules set up for that, I guess.
Well,
Whole different ball game.
here's what's interesting. The alternate for Einerson's team is Kristen Karawaki, and she's representing Manitoba in the mixed doubles. So
Okay.
if
Oh, so
they
she's one of those people that are there twice.
yeah, so I wonder if, let's say, Einerson does win, I would assume that they would head out to Switzerland relatively quickly. So I wonder if Karawaki would even be able to participate in the mixed doubles.
Yeah,
Again,
interesting.
speculation, don't quote me on that. But that's my assumption. And then we move on. So Team Alberta, we have Laura Walker's team.
Yeah, that was a pretty good team last year, I think. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was so distant. I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, they're a pretty solid team. We've seen them at a couple Grand Slams already.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're a top contender. Then we got British Columbia with Corn Brown. She's coming back for the second time. This is a team, they're straight out of juniors. So I think they're a team to watch.
Yeah,
They got potential. Maybe not like this year, but
I remember last year there was a game they had a huge lead on Jennifer Jones or something,
yes!
and then they let it slip away.
I know, I was
It was
so rooting
interesting.
for them. All right.
Speaking of Jennifer Jones, there's a lot to say here.
Yeah, Team Manitoba, Jennifer Jones. And so this is the one we talked about at the start of the year. They had they were in the news with getting Lisa Weigel join in on their team, and they were going to be a 5-man team. A good thing they did that because Dawn McEwen is not participating this year. I
Right,
guess
she's pregnant.
oh, is she pregnant?
Yeah,
Good for her.
there. I read that this morning too.
Oh, more breaking news. Donna McEwen is pregnant. But I figured, I mean, most reasons why people haven't will not be participating is either family obligations or jobs. So it'll be great. I do hope that Jones and Holman meet up at some point. I will
Oh, that'll
definitely
be
be
interesting.
watching that game.
10th end tie game. Tick shot. Lisa Weigel.
I hope they make that a feature game. And then our favorite province, Team New Brunswick. Unfortunately, I don't know who these people are, but
Melissa Adams. I've heard Melissa Adams. She's been there before. Last year, New Brunswick was, I think it was Andrea Kelly, and I felt bad
mm,
because whenever we think of a province that doesn't fare too well on the national curling scene, I don't know why, but we always default to New Brunswick. I apologize, New Brunswick. But then I thought about it, and there was a game last year where New Brunswick took 7 on Carrie Einerson.
oh, really?
Yeah, it was if you see that Curling Canada YouTube video of the top shots of the year 2020, and there's not
Hmm.
that many because 2020 was cut short, but one of them is, and it's just a routine takeout. It's not that great a shot, but it's Andrea Kelly throwing this hit for 7
My
against
God.
Einerson.
One close to an 8-ender.
New Brunswick has proven me wrong.
And Andrea Kelly, she's been curling for quite a while out of New Brunswick, so they're a good team. I
Yeah.
guess maybe like consistency isn't a big thing for them, but no, they're definitely a solid team. We also got a new team out of Newfoundland and Labrador. So Sarah Hill is the skip. So yeah, some new faces there. Team Northern Ontario. This is also a new team, I believe, skipped by Krista Burns. So Krista McCarville was the designated person for Northern Ontario, but they decided not to participate this year.
And the other thing that proves is that if you, like Kelly, if you want to move to Northern Ontario and represent Northern Ontario at the Tournament of Hearts, you should change your name to Krista.
Clearly.
Yes, you have to be named Krista to do well.
This is Krista with a Y, and
Oh, and
Krista
McCarville's
McCarville
with an
is with an
I. I
I.
didn't realize.
I maybe Krista. Maybe if I spell it like Kree, like Krista. I don't know.
Maybe. I'll say that's a good team. They were a very good junior team for a few years. They lost a Canadian final. They've been knocking on the door in North Ontario, so good for them.
Yeah, a solid replacement. Then we have Northwest Territories, Carrie Galusha, standard out of there. Team Nova Scotia, Jill Brothers with Erin Carmody.
Ooh, check out the alternate, Kim Kelly.
Kim
Going
Kelly.
retro.
Wow.
Love it.
I hope she gets a chance to play. Then we have Team Nunavut. Again, I'm sorry, Team Nunavut. I don't remember if
I've
you
seen
played
those
in this.
names before. Like
Okay,
they've been
I assume
before.
they've played last year since their picture
Actually, yeah, we're
is
looking
of.
at their pictures right now, and they're in their Tournament of Hearts getup. So,
Good luck.
and this is the big one.
Team Ontario, of course, Rachel Homan and her team. So the new Lisa Weigel replacement is Sarah Wilkes.
But does anybody even care about that? It's all about who's coaching them.
Yes, Randy Furby is their coach.
I cannot wait to see that.
Did we talk about this before where I think I made a comment asking how many coaches Rachel Homan has gone through in the past like 5 years?
It's true. She changes coaches. It seems like I've seen, like, how many I remember Marcel Rock, Richard Hart, Adam Kingsbury.
Yeah, was he the one who was like they had one who was more like a sports
A sports
psychologist?
psychologist, right? And
Yeah.
he's still around. I think he's coaching Dunstone, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it seems like every year they have a new coach.
Yeah, because like Earl Morris was their
Oh,
longtime
and of
coach
course, yeah.
through juniors, and then after aging out, they parted ways. But ever since then, it's been a different person every year. At the Olympics, it was also someone new. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to speculate, but just find it interesting. And out of all the people, I'm sure Randy Furby's great because he's
That's right.
one of our
They'll
favorites.
have their heart drops.
I was just gonna.
We had to get it in there.
Let's move on. So, Team Prince Edward Island, Suzanne Burt. Also, she's come out of that province quite often. Team Quebec is Laurie Saint Georges. So she's her team is fresh out of juniors. I think they've been out for only a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
And they went to the Canadian juniors quite a few times, and I think in their last appearance they made it to the finals. So
Yeah, I don't think it was their last appearance, but they've been very solid at the national level on the junior side.
So also just to segue a little bit here, so every province was able to pick a representative, but every provinces picked the representative differently. So some of them decided, oh, it's like Northern Ontario, it was going to be whoever won the previous year will just go again. I don't know the details for every province, but since we live in Quebec, Quebec did it a little differently where you essentially had to apply to participate, and then there was like a selection committee with various peoples from, I guess, like Curling Canada or like some upper people from there,
Right.
and then also some people from Curling Quebec.
Right. And we should say that I think the defending champions in Quebec, I don't think that team exists anymore. So I don't think Quebec was in a position to send the defending champions anyway.
Yeah, but they did that too for the men's as well, eh?
But for the men, yeah, I think the men's team from last year was able to go back, and it was a surprising result last year for the men. It was a junior team or a
Yeah, but
team, no, fresh out of juniors, but
mhm. But they still had to do the whole application process again. So
right,
also a little, I guess it's a little controversial in a sense. I mean, I guess I know like they were kind of tied with options, like they couldn't hold a championship here because of all of the restrictions. But yeah, obviously, tradition in Canada is not to handpick teams to
yes.
to
May we never
represent.
have to do this again. May we go
Yeah,
back to like actual legitimate playdowns.
exactly. And not to say like Laurie St. George, I think is a solid pick.
Hmm.
It's just not a great situation, I guess, for all the players here, where I guess you didn't
In
get
any
much
province, really.
yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't get much
like
opportunity to play, and you're kind of the faith of your team moving forward this season lies in the hands of people you don't know and
exactly.
how
But
much they like your
yeah,
resume.
even in Ontario, like we all know Rachel Homan would almost certainly win anyway. But if you're a women's team in Ontario, you deserve your chance.
And I'm sorry, Rachel Holman has lost in the past too, so there was no
That's
guarantee
true.
that she would have made it again.
She would have been the wild card, but
Yeah, but anyways,
oh,
just that aside,
and look at Team Saskatchewan. Look who's back again.
Sherry Anderson
Barry
is.
Anderson, the living legend.
Uh, I'm so gunning for them. But I was kind of. I'm not too sure how Saskatchewan selected their team, but Silvernagel, who represented Saskatchewan last year, wasn't eligible as a.
Right, they broke up, I think.
Yeah, and they have because if let's say Saskatchewan would decided to send like last year's representative, the fact that Silvernagel new team is half of the old team, they wouldn't qualify anyways, right? Because you need
Hmm.
at least like three players from the previous year.
Right. I just looked it up. Sherry Anderson is 57 years young.
Oh, you go, girl.
Good for her. Oh, and Amber Holland is the alternate.
Yeah,
Some good veteran
yeah.
experience coming out of the wheat. No, what did we call it? Wheat sheaf province?
Wheat Chief Province. That's what we should call them from now on. But they have Brianne Knapp as lead, and so I remember playing with her in
Oh, right,
juniors.
Brianne Meekin, right? Was
Yeah,
her?
yeah,
That's who
she
she is.
married.
Okay.
So she married a Knapp, and she played also with Caitlin Laws too.
In
When
juniors, yeah.
yeah, I think she was like their alternate for the Worlds. So team there, team Yukon. If we continue, will be skipped by Laura Ebby's team. I don't think we've seen them before.
No, I don't
No,
recognize any of the names.
no. And then we have the three wildcard teams. So team one is.
And hey, this is the other big story.
So the team is skipped by Chelsea Carey, but it is not Carey's team. It's actually Tracy Fleury. I keep wanting to say Horgan, but that's her maiden name. Tracy Fleury, but she won't be able to make it. But it is her team skipped by Carey.
So Chelsea Carey comes back. It's funny because we're looking at a picture and it's clearly a picture of Tracy Fleury, but it says underneath Chelsea Carey.
And you remember how earlier in the year we were speculating or wondering if Carey was going to find a last minute team this year,
I
and
called it. Yeah, or
she
not I.
did.
We called it. We said that she would. I think what I said is that she's going to win this.
Could you
This would be the
imagine?
yeah, this is the
Oh,
Chelsea Carey way to do things. Like you find a way.
and also a
Oh,
living
another
legend,
veteran.
coach Sherry Madaw.
Sherry Madaw back.
And then so wild card two, this is a team I do not recognize.
This is the last year's junior champions, I believe.
Mackenzie Zacharias. Apologies
Hmm.
if I pronounced that wrong. And then again, finally, team wild card three is another team that I do not recognize.
I've heard of some of their names. Another junior or I've seen them at the junior level, but
The third is Jenna Lauder. She was the third, I believe, for Caitlin Law's team when
right.
they went in juniors.
Yes, and who's the
And
alternate?
again,
Another legend.
Kathy Overton Clapton. Oh,
Get her in the game where they play Jennifer Jones.
ooh, yeah, that would be a good game. But you know what's interesting now is so those are all the teams, and four of them are from Manitoba,
Yeah, that's right. One, two, three. Yeah, all the wild cards are Team Manitoba.
plus Team Manitoba. So it'll be and Carrie Anderson is from Manitoba too. No,
Oh,
oh my
that's
God, that's
right. So
five
five,
teams from
five teams.
Manitoba. What? They should just do. I don't know how they're gonna break this up. Can you imagine if they just do? You know how they'll break it up for the round robins, and if they just have a Manitoba round
Yeah,
robin.
so they do have the breakdowns for the pools. Pool A is going to be Team Canada, so
Mhm.
Einerson, Ontario. By the way, I'm giving
Mhm.
you them in the order that they're ranked in. So Team Canada is number one in that pool. Then you've got Ontario,
Mhm.
Homan, Alberta, Laura Walker,
Mhm.
Wild Card 2, Mackenzie Zacharias, Wild Card 3, Beth Peterson, Northwest Territories, Carrie Galusha, Nova Scotia, Jill Brothers, Northern Ont, Krista Burns, and Yukon, Laura Eby. I don't know how to say that.
I think it's Ebby.
Ebby.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the teams in Pool A, and there's
Yeah.
9 teams in each pool this year because it'll
Woo.
be 18 teams in total. Pool B is going to be Wild Card 1, which is Tracy Fleury / Chelsea Carey, Jennifer Jones, BC, Corinne Brown, if you got that.
Yeah.
Prince Edward Island, Suzanne Burt, Saskatchewan, which is Sherry Anderson, Quebec, Laurie St. George, New Brunswick, Melissa Adams, Nunavut, Laurie Eddy, and Newfoundland, Sarah Hill. So those are the two pools that they're in.
Mhm.
They're using the same format. It'll be a full-on round robin for each pool. Uh, the top four in each pool will advance and carry their record into the championship pool. The interesting thing though is there's not going to be a page playoff. It's only going to be the top three.
Oh.
Yeah, the number one team will go straight to the final and there'll be a semifinal. Apparently there's not enough time for the page playoffs with the extra draws and everything.
Oh, that's a shame. I do not like that at all.
No, it's I wonder because it's 18 teams and you got to be in the top three. There's going to be some really good teams that don't make it, but I
So
don't know.
wait,
Maybe it's interesting.
but I can see there being a lot of tiebreaker games, no?
It's possible.
Or at
Yeah,
least one. Because
that's
let's
it. It's
say,
going to be hard to make the championship pool. First of all,
yeah, because let's say at least one team goes undefeated or one loss. But then if the other two following teams have two losses or three losses, each,
yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
let's look at pool. Like I'm just trying to figure out who's going to come out of pool A. So Einerson, the four teams: Einerson, Homan. I'm going to call Alberta. I think they'll do it. And
Yeah.
but then it gets interesting. You've got Zacharias, Peterson, Galusha, Brothers, Burns, and
Mm,
Evie.
yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
they'll make it. Okay, if I were just going to make a guess, who would be in the playoffs? I think Homan will make it for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty
Um,
safe bet.
yeah,
They've got the best coach in the field.
I'm not confident on Team Manitoba, Jones's team.
Really?
No,
Okay, yeah. Well, the thing is, they'll make the championship pool, but to make top three,
yeah, this
like
is
basically when you get to the championship pool, you've got to run the table.
yeah. Team Canada will be the up there as well, and then my third pick is a good one. I
Chelsea Carey, come on, say it.
yeah, I was gonna say if Flurry was there, I think my vote would go with her. Not to
Oh,
bash,
I
not
disagree
to
with
bash
you.
Carey, but the fact that like just having a different player on a team plus them being the skip, just team dynamic wise, I'm not too
Maybe, but
sure.
the interesting thing is that, or because yeah, we're trying to make predictions, but normally we can go and say like, oh, well, I think this team they've been really good this year. Well, has anybody been good this year? I don't know. I'm pretty good. I haven't missed a shot this year.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. Here are my top three. I'm gonna go with Team Canada, Team Alberta, and Homan as the top three.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll say Canada, Manitoba. Which one? I mean Jennifer Jones, and
Well, Team Manitoba or wild card.
I'm going with Team Jones.
Hold on, I'm writing this down so that we can follow
Okay,
up on this.
let the mailbag fill up as well.
Yeah. So okay, I'm doing Canada, Homan, and Alberta. And then you
I'm gonna
said what?
say Canada, Jones, and Homan.
The winner? Let's do this as well.
Can I change one of my? Can I? I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna drop. Team Canada actually, and replace them with Chelsea Carey.
Okay.
You heard it here first. I'm either gonna look like a genius or a complete idiot. But and now you're asking who's gonna win?
Yeah.
Uh,
Again, I have not been following any of the teams this year, so this is a pure guess on my
Okay,
part.
well, it's gonna, in my opinion, be a Jones versus Homan final. It'll be tied in the 10th end. Lisa Weigel will make her tick shot, and the heroic coaching of Randy Furby will fall just short. And I say Jones wins. I don't know.
Okay. Jones it is. Locked and loaded.
I don't really. I just wanted to get in the Weigel tick shot. I don't think she will. I actually think Homan will win.
Okay, actually, I
Yeah,
was gonna say that too. I think Holman's gonna
yeah.
win. All right, so let's check back in on in a couple weeks, and we'll see who is right or if you're or if you are wrong.
I hope we're wrong. It'll be interesting if something comes up.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think anything can happen, really, because it's just such a weird year. Um, all right, so that's it for the Scotties participants this year. So we are running a little long, Rob. So I'm thinking maybe we just cut this episode short and we can talk all about the Briar and the mixed doubles in next week's episode. What do you think about that?
I think that's good. Although you did say the word cut, and that reminds me. Last thought before we go.
Hmm.
We did not spring for cardboard cutouts of ourselves at the Briar or Tournament of Hearts for this bubble thing. But if you are willing to pay, I think something like $100. There's still time, I believe. Get your cardboard image printed out. I was looking at they've got some good cardboard cutouts printed for
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they've got like Jerome McGinley, Lanny McDonald, some famous Calgarian sports heroes. Do you know any famous Calgarian? Like who else should be? This is all the research I did. I just Googled famous
Ooh,
Calgarians being who should have cutouts.
I have
Um,
no idea. And I've been to Calgary many times, so this is something I should know or
I
should at
know.
least be able to name one person.
Yeah, so famous Calgarians. I Googled it and I mostly got all hockey players. Um, let's just see. Ted Cruz was born in Calgary.
Oh, of course. Yes, I
Yes. How
remember
about
this.
not a cardboard cutout of him? Let's pretend that didn't happen. Jan Arden.
Oh, she's
She
good.
should have a
Hey,
cutout.
sorry, tangent on Jan Arden. I am in quarantine. I decided to start watching the whole Dawson's Creek season series on Netflix. And you know that annoying song, like I don't want to
Right.
wait, right? It's actually not on the Netflix version.
Paula Cole. Right.
Yeah, because of
Yeah.
I guess it was too expensive to get the rights. So they actually had a song from Jan Arden. She sang the opening credits.
Is she singing the same song?
No, it's a different song. And apparently it was like the original song or the song they were supposed to have, but the WB used Paula Cole's song as like promotional, like for promotional reasons. And because then that song got so popular or like people associated that song with the show, they just continued using it throughout the series. But I actually like the Jan Arden song a lot better. Sorry, that
Oh,
was
the more you
also
know.
unrelated.
Yeah, they're all just mostly famous hockey players, famous curlers. Ben Hebert is from Calgary.
Oh, okay.
He should be a cutout and on the
But
ice.
he's also
And
playing.
I think this name jumps above everybody. Paul Gross is
Really?
from Calgary. Yeah, apparently he should absolutely have a cutout, being
Yeah.
a Canadian celebrity and the star of the best curling movie ever made. At the same time, the worst curling movie ever made.
Which we have to comment on at some point.
Yeah, at some point we'll jump back into the archives and give our comments on that, which will be hard because I haven't seen it in 20 years. But
I'm sure it's living on the internet somewhere.
yeah, I can't find anybody else famous. They're all hockey players,
Sorry, Calgary. You need to step up. You need to export a couple more people.
or at least Wikipedia is telling me this.
I found that there's quite a lot. Yeah, there's a big list, except a lot of them I don't really know. Anyways, yeah. So I hope you're all excited to watch the season of championships with us, starting February 19th. Um, and we'll definitely be doing a couple more episodes talking about what happens during these events. And yeah, so catch us next week for part 2 of this ongoing series, and where we'll talk about the men's teams and mixed doubles.
And let us know everything that we get wrong.
Yes,
It's going to be a
please.
lot. Except for Chelsea Carey. I'm confident on that.
Bye.
Bye-bye.